Yeah, thanks for having me, Emma. Name's Russell Carling, State Manager for MAS National. We work under the Interwork Group and are one of the Apprentice Connect providers around Australia. So thank you for having me.
Now, Russell, we're here to talk about trades and apprenticeships today. Can you talk to us about different types of apprenticeships that are available in Australia and
Sure.
what industries offer the most apprenticeship opportunities?
Sure. Well, it's quite an exciting time here in Australia with apprenticeships. And I'd just like to unpack that a little bit just for the listeners. Apprenticeships, and we also have traineeships. So apprenticeships generally run for a 36 to 40 month period, and traineeships are generally 12 to 24 months. When we look at an apprenticeship pathway, it's predominantly a trade qualification, and then a traineeship is everything outside of that. So we had a wealth of occupations within Australia that we can undertake. So very exciting for participants out there who are looking at their next career pathway.
Could you give us some examples of some of those trades and professions?
Sure. So we're in a sort of in a time where there's plenty of opportunities around Australia, particularly related to automotive trades like heavy vehicle mechanics. We have a strong opportunities within community and allied health services, childcare. So we've got a growing population that require care when they exit from their residential home and go into care. And also we have a lot of parents now who are both needing to work. You know, we have a challenging time where we're in a time where things are costing a lot more. So both parents are needing to work. So childcare is a really strong opportunity out there. Building and construction, we can see it all around Australia. Lots of commercial buildings going up in city and regional areas, plus also the sort of development of regional areas with residential buildings. So those roles tend to be from carpentry, bricklaying, plumbing, roof tiling, concreting. So plenty of opportunities in those areas all throughout Australia. And then sort of the electrical area, we've got a strong opportunity. The federal government are moving away from fossil fuel resilience and reliance, towards clean energy. So that electrical space is really opening up opportunities within solar, within wind, within hydrogen, also within battery usage throughout cars and also in heavy industry. So they're probably the main sort of top list that we moved through, but we also have traineeships in those critical areas like hospitality, retail, warehousing, always strong opportunities for people to go into those types of qualifications. But the key aspect for the federal government at the moment is regarding priority occupations that are deemed as in need throughout Australia.
It sounds like there is just such a broad range of occupations to choose from. So it's about considering what your interests are and perhaps pursuing that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it all starts from generally high school and what you're exposed to. And that's where it's starting, year 9s now through to year 12, getting exposure. But once you finish high school, highly recommend if you have a passion for something, then follow that dream. And a pre-apprenticeship program throughout Australia, different states have different requirements, but that gives you a real good taster. Some other states have job ready programs that you can engage in, which can be free or very, very low cost. So I'd really encourage you to, talk to your Workforce Australia provider, speak to your Apprentice Connect provider. They look after the apprenticeship and traineeship aspects of your qualification. There's plenty of career tools that you can use as well. So the federal government have career tools that you can access. Plus, also your Apprentice Connect provider can do assessments on potential pathways for you to undertake. So yeah, it's definitely, as you said, Emma, follow your dream. Speak to your family and friends. Speak to other people about what type of jobs that they do. And that can give you a bit of an idea on where you like to head. And on that as well, you may try something and then you realize it's not for you. But an apprenticeship pathway gives you an opportunity to move into another area, quite easily. So yeah, definitely give it a go. It's a good opportunity to boost your career.
So let's talk about initiatives to support these priority jobs. Are there any new initiatives or programs in place at the moment to help support apprenticeships in Australia?
Yeah, so the federal government now are more moving towards an apprentice-centric model. So they really want to wrap around support that are engaging in an apprenticeship pathway. So we do have, if you're looking at going into a new energy pathway under that priority list, there's $10,000 now that you can secure, potentially up to $10,000 over a 36-month period. So really good opportunity for you to secure support during those initial phases of your apprenticeship. There's also the Australian Apprentice Training Support Program for priority occupations that gives support of up to $5,000 for apprentices. We also have the Apprenticeship Trade Support Loan, which is around that, just over that $25,000 mark, where you secure that over up to 40-month period, and you finish your trade occupation, and then you only have to pay back 80% of it. So it's like a HECS debt, but a really good opportunity to give you some subsistence allowance to help you through those initial years within your apprenticeship. If you're living away from home and you're needing to go to work, there's living at home away allowance as well. So that, usually starts at around that $77 mark in the first year, and then tapers off each year after that. So there's lots of support through the federal government. Each state may have its own support programs as well. So once again, I'd encourage the viewers here to contact their Apprentice Connect provider and talk about those local opportunities. Federal is across Australia, and then those state opportunities, which may also have additional support. So yeah, we're in an exciting time, Emma, where previously the majority of the support was for the employer, but now the federal government really recognised that to attract people into the sector and to retain them into the sector, some of this additional funding can really support those attraction piece and the completion right through to either 24 months or 48 months of their apprenticeship or traineeship.
So let's talk about how to get an apprenticeship. What's the steps, Russell? How does one go about it? If they've decided what they think they want, what happens next?
Well, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, talk to the people that are close to you. Have a chat to your friends and to your family. Have a chat to your Workforce Australia provider and ask about those opportunities. We do have the Workforce Australia website where there is jobs loaded, so it's like a Seek platform. Also, you have Seek as well, where you can have a look. But also your private and public training providers. So the TAFE, most of the TAFEs around Australia will have a support centre there to provide you with opportunities to look at career pathways as well.
So, Russell, if you wanted to get exposure to employers and expand those networks, particularly if you've not sort of done this sort of thing before, what's your advice to the audience about doing that?
Oh, look, it's a very diverse industry out there in Australia. So if you're looking at trying to, we spoke before about how do you find an apprenticeship pathway, I would really highly encourage the viewers to speak to group training organisations, GTOs, all throughout Australia. They become the legal entity, your employer, and they will host you out to different businesses. So you get exposure not just to one host, you get exposure to multiple hosts. It also means that if, say, your host was, their workload was reducing, the group training organisation then required to place you with another host. So it really does enhance your ability of having ongoing sustainable employment with the support of your Apprentice Connect provider who provide the mentoring, and then through the GTO, they also have their field officers and partial care support. So those two elements of support really get you through to your completion, but also you get that exposure to multiple hosts along the journey. So quite exciting if you can have a look at GTOs. Thoroughly or highly recommend that you engage with them. There's a lot of support really focused towards diversity groups, women who are going into non-traditional trades. So we've got a small portion of women who are doing trades, so we really want to see that lift. It's helping First Nations go into trade pathways, apprenticeships and traineeships. And it's also helping people with disabilities. who have been neglected over time, and there's really good opportunities for them to go into apprenticeship and traineeship pathways. We spoke previously about clean energy, new energy. So there will be additional support for those individuals who are going into those pathways. Very exciting times. And also, if you're living in regional and remote areas in Australia, there'll be additional support provided by your Apprentice Connect provider to ensure that you understand the right pathways, to ensure that you have the support throughout the journey to help you complete. And one aspect of that as well, we're talking about the apprentice. There is now additional support for employers along the journey. So they may not have had an apprentice on, Emma. And so as an Apprentice Connect provider, we're able to give additional support through us and also through the registered training organisation to ensure that they understand their rights and obligations and the support that they can provide their apprentice.
Talk to me about the training and mentoring that happens when you are successful and you become an apprenticeship. What does that look like when you start to work?
I'll just go a step earlier than that, Emma. It's probably about providing the apprentice with the right support to ensure that they are linked to the right registered training provider or organisation, sorry. That's really a key aspect. Understand what's their pathway, what's the best opportunity for them, what's the best training provider for them. And then when they're in their apprenticeship pathway, they could have, for example, day release once a week where they attend their training provider, whether it's public or private. Or they might do block release where they attend TAFE on a rotation every couple of months and they spend a whole week there. So it really depends on what qualification you're doing. Trades, apprenticeship programs tend to be day release or block release. And then if you're looking at a traineeship pathway, that tends to be the RTO coming out, doing some assessments on site and also a fair volume of online work as well. But it's tailored to the participant, tailored to the apprentice to ensure that they're successful. Then with all of this, we have touch points along the journey. So depending if you're in this enhanced group, that key client group, First Nations, women in non-traditional trades, in a regional remote area, you've got a disability, there will be additional contact by your Apprentice Connect provider and also by the Department of Employment and Workplace Relations. And those touch points is to identify if there's support that needs to be activated. And if there is support activated, there will be mentors throughout Australia providing tailored, specialised support for those key client groups that I mentioned to ensure that they have the opportunity to resolve any of the challenges they're having in the workplace. So it could be conflict in the workplace, could be personal issues that they're having at home, it could be financial support that they need and direction. And a lot of the time, Emma, it's about linking to those peer support groups that really have good understanding of the challenges those individuals face. So it's all about providing the right support, providing it quickly, providing it at a timely manner, giving the specialised support along the journey and ensuring that individual can get through to, or the apprentice, sorry, can get through to their completion, and then they're on their merry way. And in some cases, they stay with their employer. In other cases, they may venture into the big wide world and maybe even start up their own business.
It's really encouraging to hear that those mentoring touch points are in place for people Correct. Joining the workforce.
Just to finish off on that little point is, really as participants, when you start in your apprenticeship pathway, access the online support. Utilize, for example, Mas National have their app. That's point in time access that you can request support. So there's additional software that can make life a lot easier for the apprentice, because in some cases, youth, they don't like talking about their problems, and sometimes using an app, can help activate that. So plenty of support out there and different mechanisms to access that support now.
Russell, I've got one more question for you.
Sure.
Our time's nearly up today. What advice would you give someone who's considering an apprenticeship as a career path?
I would highly encourage your viewers to take on an apprenticeship pathway. The key aspect, particularly when you're not working, you could go and study and that could be a challenge because you need income to support yourself. So what a better way to secure a qualification on a national recognized qualification by working and learning at the same time. Then you're leading towards a trade qualification or your certificate, and that often opens up so many opportunities, not only in, say, your selected career. You might be an electrician, for example, and you might only do that for 5 years, and then you might go into leadership, or you might go into a different field. So it opens up so many more doors. Today in Australia, we have a massive skill shortage right throughout the whole country. It doesn't matter what city, what town you're in, there is a real significant need to have skilled labour. And to secure that skilled labour, so many employers are looking at taking on an apprentice or a trainee. If you have any concerns about what to do, highly encourage you engage with your Apprentice Connect provider throughout Australia. There is 10 of these throughout the country. Huge amount of support through them. Exciting times. And I know, Emma, you'll provide some additional support for your viewers to access after today's session. So, yep, exciting times. Look forward to hearing the success down the track.
Well, that is our wrap for today, Russell. That has been a great chat, and I hope that our viewers have got a lot of information that will get them inspired about looking for a new career. So thank you for your time today, Russell. Pleasure. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Emma.